Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day and yes, I'm wearing a house coat this morning. My brand new house that I just moved in July. The only thing it seems that doesn't really work in this house is the heating. The furnace just is blowing nothing but cold air. Yes, I've checked the settings. Yes, I've checked to make sure it's on. Yes, I've checked all those things and everything is working. You can hear it working. It's just not blowing any heat. And so, yeah, I have a provider coming. It's 16 degrees this morning in my house, which is pretty chilly. Nice to sleep, not nice to spend the day in this, but yeah, that's the reason for the house coat. For all those wondering about it. Let's talk a little bit quickly about some stuff going on in the cruise news. We have a big announcement from Norwegian Cruise Line as they attempt to pay off all of their debt from the pandemic. We have an unfortunate story of the Grace Bailey, a historic schooner in Maine area, one of a fleet of 9 historic ships that was out for a tour with guests, and unfortunately the main mast broke, causing 1 fatality and injured others. We'll talk a little bit about that. Quick update on what's happening in Israel. So first, let's just quickly cover that. I saw Tony cover it, and I guess I better mention it too. When I'm talking about Israel, I'm not getting into the political stuff. I'm not getting into all that. We are a cruise news channel. We cover the cruise news, and we are just talking about the cruise ship passengers, those that were in the city when Israel was attacked and had to be evacuated from the city and back on board as the ships fled when the violence started to happen and the rocket attacks started to happen. It is, I'm not making political statements about stuff. I'm just covering the cruise news. We know things there are much more severe than people not being able to go into a cruise port on their vacation. Let's cover that right off the bat. However, just to let people know, if you have an upcoming cruise that Israel was part of your tour, many people go there for religious reasons and, to visit historic sites and places like that, the home country. Well, cruise lines have now started canceling all the way into November and December for a lot of the bookings. So it looks like they're not taking any cautions. They're redoing their schedules to make sure they have ports to go to for their passengers. And they're going to let the conflict, of course, resolve itself, much like we are in Ukraine right now when Russia, where we're not going to St. Petersburg at the moment because of the conflict going on there. And as far as I know, there's not too many ships scheduled for St. Petersburg in the near future. So that's Israel. Not going to cover the political stuff. War is a war. No matter what the reason, it's horrific, especially when citizens and civilians are attacked. So that's what's happening in Israel as far as cruise lines are concerned. Cruise lines are concerned. That's all I'm talking about. Okay, now we do have this bad story going on about the Grace Bailey. And she's a schooner. She holds about 29 passengers plus crew. And while she was off the coast of Maine, one of the ship's main mast snapped and fell over, fatally injuring 1 passenger and injuring 3 others. Now, these are kind of like an association of 9 ships that are out there. They're all kind of state-run. They're individually owned, but they all look after like the historic value of these ships, and they offer, they teach people about the way things used to be and how sailing on these ships was back in the day. And they are considered, very, very historically accurate and very informative. People love to go on these schooner cruises. But unfortunately, while they were off this week, one of the main masts snapped. And it snapped in such a way where it actually did some damage to the folks that were there. Very unfortunate accident. It It just goes to show you, you just never know in life, folks. You can be on something as simple as this little sailing vessel off the coast, and something just happens like that, which is one of those reasons that I always just say that you got to live your life for today, folks. Don't plan your life for later. If you want to do something, you've always wanted to do something, get her done, because you never know what life's going to throw at you or take away from you. So I just wanted to bring that up and say condolences to these folks. These are offered many times on cruise ships. Passengers book these all the time. And I just want to condolences to the friends and family of those affected, including the crew. Imagine how devastating this can be also for the crew members who are on board, who do this as a fun, leisurely job. This is a beautiful job, a historical sailing vessel, and then something tragic like this happens. It's not a great story at all, but, and again, condolences to the friends and family. Next, we have Norwegian Corporation. NCL Corporation is announcing that it's going to start offering, it's proposing anyway, to offer senior secured notes totaling about $790 million, which they say they will use that money to pay off all of the debt and interest accrued remaining from the pandemic, which would basically wipe the slate clean, and then all money coming in now would be operating costs and profit, right? It would be an actual, here's the money, this is what we're making, and these would come due starting in 2028, 2029, and they're a secured note at a certain interest rate, plus some other benefits. It has to all get approved and everything. But for Norwegian Cruise Line, if this can go through, and that would put off for 5 to 6 years any interest, any money owing. We all know that the cruise industry right now is back to being pretty much booming. Most cruise lines sailing at over 100% occupancy. That would be very good, and maybe if they get rid of all those interests and all those other things, they will be able to stop, we won't see any more cutbacks. We won't see any more raising in prices right away. I think a lot of the cruise lines are also starting to realize that passengers are starting to say, hey, enough is enough. You're starting to overcharge me now, or you're starting to take too much stuff away. I love cruising. However, there's other cruise lines, and if you keep taking stuff away and changing what I feel about your cruise line, I may not go. And this may come as a long way for NCL to stop doing that, and maybe start introducing new things to the fleet and new things that people want to go onto their cruise ship for. It makes a big difference. If you don't have to keep paying out, say, 30% of your profit every year to interest rates, that would be terrific. Think that's 5 years of 30% of your money that you could just accumulate to pay off this in 2028. In the meantime, you have more operating capital. So that would be a very good thing for NCL if they can manage to get this done. And again, just condolences goes out to the friends and family of those people on the schooner, the Grace Bailey. And of course, thoughts and prayers go to everyone affected by what's going on in Israel and Ukraine for that matter. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Till next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.